Hello, hello, hello. Making a rock video. This is my skull rock. I love it. It is gorgeous. Hang on, I have to get myself. I have to get myself my cushion. Yes, this is my elbow cushion. It's very nice. So this is better. Okay. My skull rock. I love it. Absolutely love this rock. The shape of this rock is so incredibly nice. It's an inverted skull. That is much better. The inverted skull actually means living. It's a representation for living and healing and for infinite power, infinite expansion and creativity. That's what this stands for. And I made my own perfume oil, and I wished I could share this with the world, my perfume oils, but I only have a handful of people watching my videos, and I am infinitely grateful to every single person who watches my videos. I really, really deeply appreciate that so much. Whoever watches my videos and gets something, some wisdom, sees some wisdom in what I'm saying, and benefits from what I'm saying, every one of these people, every one of you is already way many steps ahead. If you see value in my videos, you're already many steps ahead, because you're already outside that of the egoic show business range. So you're already outside of the egoic mindset draw of society. I want to word myself correctly. I want to word myself in a way that it is not being misunderstood. So that's why I am pausing and I'm contemplating on finding the right words for this, because the language we have is very limited. The vocabulary that we have, even if we had a very wide vocabulary, it would not justify or explain, even marginally, what the infinite has to say to us. And I, as a messenger, as a living being, cannot bring this across, even if I had access to an infinite vocabulary or infinite language, or infinite way of expressing this. Maybe my artwork expresses this better. But even if I have this expression, like for example with my artwork, so many people that don't like my artwork, that don't find my artwork acceptable, or you don't find it, it doesn't fit into their concept of appealing is. To most people, appealing has to have a touch of asshole or jerk, or it has to have a touch of some kind of seductive allure, some kind of meanness, sexuality, like a sexualized meanness or something. That is what we see in commerce. It's those kind of things we see in the world as celebrated the most, as viewed the most, as bought the most. Mean type of sex, you know. And I'm not even going to hold it against the teenage singers that are out there that are so cute and everything. They get the text delivered to them on a golden platter. Here's the text, you sing. Okay. And they sing it because they think they don't think about this twice. They think this fits right into my sort of genre, or this fits right into my teenage generation, or this fits right into the lingo, and so they accept it. They don't think about it. They don't look behind stage. They don't investigate these kind of lyrics, okay? Like rap lyrics where they glorify banging women and masses, gang rape. I mean, it's like it's actually being glorified by the majority of pop singers and rap and R&B and stuff like this. So the average human is full of pain, and they think that this pain then that's being acted out in their adult life, they think that's normal. They think that is what is sexuality. They think that is what's hot, or that's how men and women should interact, or that's how a woman should dress and make herself out to be, and with long fingernails that are extremely unpractical. Okay, that's dangerous. If you have long fingernails like this, even if you have these veneers on the fingernails, they are put on the nails with some kind of crazy glue that is like, that really bonds. That bonds. And so whether it's a veneer or your own fingernail that is long and you get caught somewhere, that can rip that whole fingernail off the entire nail bed. Trust me, you don't want to experience something like this, and or it shreds the fingernail, and you don't want to experience a fingernail tearing into your flesh. That's not a good thing to do. Okay, and I mean, there's a very limited range of things that you can actually do with long fingernails. Typing with 10 fingers, blind as I do, and I type faster than I think. So that's gonna be very challenging with long fingernails. I mean, about anything, doing anything, artwork, working in the garden, how can you do this with long fingernails? It's not gonna work. So it's the woman is being casted into the sex kitten, the sex kitten, So it's like if we really look at this a little bit closer, I mean, if you really inspect this, you will see that there is something not good about it. There's something very regressive about it. So feminists around the globe have worked to give us women rights and equal status throughout history. Okay, started slow and difficult, very difficult, and picked up pace, and it got better, and they fought and fought and fought, and at some point, I don't know, maybe in the 80s or something, some point, I remember I was in the punk society. It was in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. It was sort of like the peak of emancipation, of women liberation and equal rights, egalitarianism. And then things got turned into all kinds of things, got turned into something insane. The ego doesn't stop anywhere. It doesn't stop at common sense. I don't call it common sense, at rational sense. The ego doesn't stop at rational sense and says, okay, we've reached our goal. No, it keeps going. It keeps going and twisting it like the curve goes up like this. Instead of stopping, yeah, we reach it. No, it goes like this. And then at some point the curve goes back like this. It bends over backwards, curve in the coordinate, in the 2D coordinate system. First it goes up. Yeah, we reach the goal. And then it doesn't stop because the ego doesn't stop. So that happened on all levels, and you know what I'm talking about. Look at statistics. Look at the laws that have been created. Look at the consumer rights laws that have been created. Oh, they really went like, whew, and then in the back it took a nosedive down because there's no more rational sense involved in that. Then it nips us consumers in the butt, our consumer rights. Because, just to use this one example, if Amazon, for example, which is following that extreme, because he wants customers, but in the end, it can nip him in the butt. It can really harm his business, because if he extends his consumer rights to a point, just to appeal to the public, to the point where people can wear a clothing item for a week, or I don't know for how long, or maybe eventually for 4 weeks, wearing it all out and everything, and they can send it back to get their money back. They can constantly get new clothes, and the rest of the population buying those clothes that have been worn, paying for new clothes, getting used clothes, they're the ones that have to suffer from this. Eventually, it will take such a nosedive that the public is going to be fed up, and they're going to go, oh, I'm not going to buy from Amazon anymore, because it has twisted itself, the graph has twisted itself, bent over backwards into a nosedive. So I don't want a used item. I have OCD. I want new clothes. I pay for new clothes. I want new clothes. Okay. I don't want something that some person somewhere has worn for a week, sweating into it and putting their germs into it. That doesn't even wash out with one wash. So it's like, no, I pay for new clothes. I want new clothes. Okay, so and then the same with, I hope I make this clear. So the same with positive thinking. It's another subject, but it's the same theme. Like in the statistics, it will go up the graph. Will slowly go up. Yeah, we made it. Yeah. And then suddenly the ego doesn't stop, and it keeps on going, and it turns and takes a nosedive somewhere in the back. So that is the flow of taking things to a further and further, further and further and further and further degree. And at some point, it just keeps bending. So, yeah, we want to use rational sense, right? Rational sense. We want egalitarianism. We want equal rights for every single individual. We don't even have that yet. I mean, there's no equal rights. Okay? Chimpanzees and dogs and horses, they don't have the equal rights for, and I'm not talking about voting. So there's always these people, they can't vote. No, that is freaking what I'm not talking about. It is not about voting, okay? A retarded human doesn't vote either. Okay. So, but they have the right, a retarded human has the right to protection, has the right to dignity, health, happiness, and so on. Has the right to all of these things, so legal protection and all of this, just like a not retarded human has. But a chimpanzee is equal and smarter than some retarded humans. Okay, so I haven't even mentioned the whales yet. The whales are smarter than any human. Okay, where are their rights to protection? Okay. No, we haven't made it yet to that level at all. No, they have bent, twisted the graph before they ever get to that level. Their egos have gotten a hold of that graph and they bend it and they twisted it backwards. So now they make people into imbeciles with their consumer or whatever, with their human rights laws and stuff like this, with what they label egalitarianism. So there are feminists that have taken the nosedive back in the back, okay, and they are no longer in the realm of rational sense. The ego just takes it further and further and further, and they haven't even noticed that what they're doing is no longer egalitarian. So I want egalitarianism. That means the same right to health and love and protection and happiness for every living being. Okay. For every woman, every man, every horse, every dog, every whale. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. But no, they haven't understood egalitarianism. They haven't understood life, biology. It's always hijacked by the ego, everything. That's what it is in the world. It's very sad. Because they don't look at it from rational sense. They don't look at it from an educated, rational sense point of view, from an informed point of view of psychology and biology and biochemistry. They spray pesticides like they have absolutely no clue at all what that does to the world, to the earth. So, if we have any rational sense left, you cannot spray pesticides on anything. Just to use a few examples of this, or to take certain laws into a complete backwards turn, where they don't even grant people their own autonomy anymore of achieving something. That's backwards. That's completely backwards. And it's not fair. It's not egalitarian anymore. So if we want egalitarianism, we are all, then we have to realize that every single living being is equally precious and has this exact same rights, the philosophical, ethical rights to protection, health, happiness, and love. Okay? Protection on all levels. For safety, being safe and happy. Being allowed to exist in peace. Every animal can't be hunting animals. You cannot do this. You cannot take the peace away from them. So I hope this makes a lot of sense. You cannot log the forests. The animals live in those trees. That's their homes. They feel safe in those trees. You cannot cut these trees. Neighbor cut half of his tree off. The limbs of half of his tree off. More than half. Oh, that made me real scared and worried. You're not supposed to cut more than 20%, about 20%. That's the maximum that you can cut from the photosynthesis part, the green part that takes in the sunlight, that is extremely necessary for that organism to survive. So cannot take more than 20%. But he took more than 50% of that tree from the needles, the green that takes in the sunlight to turn that light into, that creates a photosynthesis reaction that turns that I don't know exactly how it works, but that creates the green color, and that creates an exchange of chemicals that keeps the tree and the plant healthy and alive and nourished. It takes in the carbon and it sheds out oxygen. And we need that. We need this exchange. We depend on that. In order to terraform Mars, we have to create plants on there. This is a very slow process. It has to start very slowly. It has to start with mosses, because mosses can actually live in very low oxygen percentage atmosphere. So then you go from there, very, very gradually. Don't continue to chop off the vegetation on this planet. Don't continue to do this. That is my message. People do all of these insane things because they don't look behind. They don't question anything. They just go by what society tells them. Talk radio, any kind of propaganda. Their body said this, and so they take that for granted. They don't question it. Just because a whole football stadium of audience cheering sees something in one way doesn't mean it's true. Okay, just because maybe 90% of humans believe something to be true doesn't mean it's true. Okay, question these things. Question it. That means, that requires you to be brave enough to stand alone even if you just do it in a meditation at home, just to even go there in your mind, mentally go in that direction. That's what a lot of people are already afraid of to do. So you have to do it. You have to practice that at home. Do this. Then question things. And if you gradually take this towards your friends, they'll probably freak out. They might ridicule you. Yeah, this is a very difficult process for a lot of people. Their egos will jump in and their egos will go, oh, I don't want to be ridiculed, so I better adjust. That's not what brings us forward. That's not what brings this species forward if we want to do something positive for this planet and for all life. We have to be brave to stand alone and say, hey, wait a minute, the emperor has no clothes on. And then gradually everyone will get it too. Oh my goodness, yes, he's right or she's right. The emperor has no clothes on. It's a fairy tale. It's always the clown that will be the first one to point something out. That will be the first one to say, wait a minute, this is a fake diamond, or wait a minute, this is not a real Van Gogh, or wait a minute, this is unfair, this new law. It is always the jester, because the clown, the jester, is the one that by default is already standing outside. That's why he's used as the entertainer. And within the realm of being the entertainer, he can be tolerated. The ego goes, ha 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 ha, it was just the jester. The jester is always a bit strange, isn't he? He makes us laugh, but it's the jester who sees the truth. That's the problem, and it's always been like this. So the jester will see it. Hey, wait a minute. There's an invasion of extraterrestrials. Okay, I mean, just use this example. Or wait a minute, we need the trees. Wait a minute. So I don't know what example to use. Some people, if there was an invasion of extraterrestrials, some people, they would be so incredibly inconvenient to accept that they'll just simply deny it. But the jester is a person, a brain that cannot deny something that's happening, if it's happening. I'm just using this as an example. Jester sees the problems that are happening as that what they are, problems. Okay, problematic. He sees the consequences. He sees, hey, whatever, the bus is coming and it's gonna run you over. Better jump out of the way. The jester is gonna see it because he already has that distance where he can see it from further out, from above. He can see, oh, this is where everyone is standing in this situation. Here's the bus coming. There's the drug addiction, and this is his life in the future. The jester is gonna see it. The person involved in this whole conundrum is not seeing it, the individual person. And they're not gonna listen to the clown, because they'll go, oh, it's just a clown. So it's very difficult. I don't know how to bring this across the best way. So I hope that sheds a little bit light into this. So, and what's done by commerce right now is extreme insanity. Commerce only cares about profit maximization. So one time a guy on Facebook, he asked me, he wanted me to show him my feet So I made foot massage videos for YouTube. I said, enjoy my foot massage videos. And he wouldn't show himself who he is and stuff. So, yes, I'm making a video. And he finally said to me, can you sing? I was like, where did this question suddenly come from? And I said, no, I can't sing very well. And I usually don't feel like singing, like that's a number one obstacle, that I don't exactly feel like singing. Because as an activist, I see the problems in the world and they scare the shit out of me. And they dampen my mental well-being quite a bit. Okay. They dim things down for me. They sometimes even knock out my entire voice. So I'm good at crying. That is my flow of life. Okay. So yeah, but I've had a phase where Kenny was happy and healthy, and my former dog, and where we went hiking a lot, and where things were going well, and Paul and I got along okay, and I was very creative, writing things, writing songs, and during that time listening a lot to Alexandra Nefedov. So I sang her songs because I resonate with that, with her energy, sad songs. So the only thing that I was able to sing were sad songs. And some other people's sad songs as well. So I told that guy, yeah, Alexandra Nefedov, that is pretty much what I resonate with and what I sing occasionally when I am not totally floored. So yeah, and kind of like low. I can't sing very high octaves. It's like nah, that doesn't work. So I am not that bad with key because I used to play the violin. So I'm a little bit. I got a little bit used to keys, the note keys, hitting the note keys approximately on the right frequency. And I like singing when I feel a little bit better. I like it. It's a wonderful thing. It's an expression of emotion, of flow, of yourself, of who you are really, what you resonate with. And I really resonate with Alexandra Nefedov. So I told the guy, Alexandra Nefedov, he probably Googled her and he probably listened to some of her songs, 60s. Mein Freund der Baum ist tot. Starb im frühen Morgenrot. And every time I sang that song, I could not finish singing the song. I would completely flow out in tears. I would start sobbing while I'm singing that song. It's about the tree about the tree that died in the early morning hours. It's real horrible. It's a real horrible song that I can feel it right now. It's real horrible. And then a tree died at the other house, a large tree. And it resonated with that song, of course. So anyway, I told that guy, yeah, I resonate with Alexandra Nefedov. I sing her songs sometimes, occasionally. I already was a fan of her when I was 16. She had already died. She died young. She had a car accident. She was just in her early 30s. She died beautiful and young. So maybe she was 27. I think she's part of the club to 27. I don't know. But anyway, I never heard from that guy again. I don't know who that was, but it doesn't matter whether it was some kind of producer or whether it was just an average person, whoever, He never said he was a producer, but the way he, just asked me, can you sing? Can you sing? Like someone said, can you cook? Maybe I can use you. Yeah, that happened to me several times. That happened to me like 2 or 3 times. Can you cook? Like maybe I can use you for something useful. Some people really are like this, It's like, whew, you know what? My response to that is, I cannot use you for something good. Just for you asking me that question. So that is, to me, someone asking me a question like this, particularly, can you cook? I mean, that tops the can you sing? That really tops that one. And it's just like how they see women, wow. The frugal women user. Maybe I can use her for cooking and for some other things too. Then I got some range covered with her. All for free. Yes. Right. Yeah, some people are like that. They see women as nothing but a usable object for some personal pleasure and entertainment. But, the guy who said, can you sing? And I mentioned Alexandra Nefedov. It's like, of course, that genre doesn't fit into today's pop anymore. It was pop in the 60s in Germany. It was pop. It was number one in the radio, her sad songs, believe it or not. That would be regarded today as vintage as best, and what word could I, depressing and emo as worst. So like emo music, like completely dark emo, depressing or something, like antique, vintage, diner, restaurant, dark, emo, depressing music or something. Chansons, she also sang in French and in Russian and in German and in English, in all these languages. She was, that was an amazing woman, Alexandra Nefedov, God level soul, an amazing woman. She saw things from way above. But a delicate body, a delicate brain, of course. That's a delicate brain is the only thing that can house this kind of soul. The soul cannot even take a seat in anything else. So, but the cruelty of humanity and all of this it's too much. So she had to leave. But she left incredible work behind for us to ponder over, for us to feel and listen to, maybe to understand, hoping that maybe people will understand a little bit, understand how a sensitive brain works, instead of judging that sensitive brain and saying, oh, that's just the door. Maybe we can take a seat and a breath, listen to that sadness, and maybe let it in. Maybe feel it. Maybe let our inner child feel it. And feel, what did Alexandra feel, and why did she feel like this? Maybe she felt connected to the trees and the animals around her. Maybe she felt connected. Maybe she felt crushed by the coldness of humans, by the sexism of men using women as an object, not seeing her for whom she is, an equally precious living being. So that was her legacy, that was her message to the world. She was hoping people would see it, would feel it. Some people did. Some people forgot about it later on again. People forget easily. Some people never feel it. Some people never allow it in. Some people are constantly running fast away from their pain. They don't want something emo that will bring them to the nitty-gritty of their own childhood trauma and sadness. They run away fast with their cocaine or some even worse, and there's always something worse, some worse drug or act out or whatever. They run away fast from it. And the worst is, commerce having this incredible manipulation grip on the public with they groove things in, and they are not willing to take anything that is outside of this. Alexandra Nevenov, oh, dark, emo, no, we're not going there. That's how they think. So they go like, oh, we go with whatever, whatever people can be captured with. Sex and violence, ruthlessness, assholeness. It's being glorified. It's being put on a pedestal. There's already a lot of people asshole enough. Now they want to glorify that even more, bring this up on an even higher level. They want to glamorize it. So my message to the world is, you, the consumer, you have a lot of power. You can say no to that. You can say no to the shit that comes from Hollywood and from commerce, show business in general, Bollywood, India, Hollywood, showbiz around the world, Vegas. What do they offer in Las Vegas? Is there anything in those shows that offers us anything, any kind of love, any kind of encouragement? I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, haute couture is like, it offers people anorexia. It glamorizes anorexia. It glamorizes illness. It even glamorizes frigidity, because anorexia leads to frigidity. That's not flow. That's not curve. That's not womanity. That's not womanhood. That's not the divine feminine. Okay? The divine feminine loves itself, loves its curves, loves its life, loves all life equally much. The mother, the divine mother. Show business, haute couture, Hollywood, Bollywood, acting, singing, music, everything that is hyped to extreme hyper balls of mass appeal. All of this is on the wrong path. It is up to you, the consumer, to stand up and say, no, that's not the path I go. And I don't care if I get ridiculed. If people ridicule me, they're not my friends. Okay? And if I even if I don't find any friends, okay, it is better to stand up for truth and love than to latch on to some bullshit, something that is unhealthy. I hope that makes a lot of sense. So you are precious. You are equally precious as everyone else. Everyone, every other being. Every being out there is equally precious as you and everyone else. Every living being. The trees there are equally precious as my body, my dog, my husband, the Pope, George Clooney, Ariana Grande, Marilyn Monroe, Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Mese, her fan, he's God level, so we're all equally precious. My brother, he doesn't know it. He doesn't know that he's equally precious. It doesn't register. The ego puts a stop. The ego blocks that off. The ego always goes, I have been mistreated, and because I don't want to see it and feel that I have been mistreated, I better go with mainstream. I better go with thinking that I need to up myself with something, some BS. It doesn't up anyone. It doesn't level anyone up. You're already precious. You don't need to be leveled up with anything. You don't need drugs. You don't need the couturier designer outfit if you have a budget of $2,000 per month. You don't need it. Okay. The Walmart fleece jogging outfit will do it. Okay. It will do its job to keep you warm and comfortable and cozy. The perfume oil from Quality Fragrance Oils, very high quality, almost like I would say identical to the designer perfumes that you pay $150 for. Yeah, you can get it for 10, same amount. Or let's say, you get four ounces for $16 or something. Yeah, 4 ounces for $16. If you get the small bottle, it's just